Sister Dorcas 1, former Marine agent. An expose of the Marine Kingdom secrets. Part 1. Chapter 1, Demon Incarnates released on Earth by the Marine Kingdom. Welcome, beloved, to this testimony about the world that is beneath the ocean. I was initiated in witchcraft at the age of 9, and for 10 years I served the Marine Princess Elizabeth and Jacqueline. For 10 years I was doing the bidding of these water mermaids and diva, which was to kill, steal, and destroy. I was deprived of the feeling of mercy and affection since I was initiated in witchcraft at the age of 9. My soul was feeding on the suffering of humanity. I was the servant of the Princess Magdalene, also called Jacqueline in white magic. This lady of the sea seems like a 37-year-old mother, but she is an immortal fallen angel. As I was serving her, I noticed that she never gets old. There is a fundamental and apparent thing about the powers that are ruling the universe in the satanic world. The acceleration and speed of their operation in the universe reflect the awareness of the fact that time is finished. They do not have time left before them. They are restless and interacting among the children of Adam with great speed. I remember one day I was among the mermaids and sirens in the Marine Kingdom. I asked them about the last day judgment and the lake of fire. The powers who dwell beneath the water do not hide their fate and what is in store for them. They have accepted their fate, which is the lake of fire. There is no redemption and salvation for them. Only men that are created in the image of God have the promise of redemption. In revenge, these forces of darkness are working relentlessly to cause the entire human race to join them in the lake of fire. They did not hide their fate. When I asked them about the last judgment, they made it clear to me by saying, "We all are heading to the lake of fire and brimstone. This is our fate. God is coming to judge all of us and all these spirits in the last judgment. That is why we are working tirelessly to win the world so that we can go there in the lake of fire with the majority of humanity. Winning souls is our priority. Because time is finished, and the last judgment is at hand. We will win more souls than God, and we are winning more souls." Later they took me to see the abode of the dead and the fire of hell. When we got there, I was shocked, terrified, and frightened. Beloved, you don't want to go to hell and you don't want to see hell. These things are bigger than the human imagination. I was almost a demon. But when the mermaid showed me hellfire, I was in terror. I saw a huge roaring fire and people in that fire that was burning them. I saw people in the fire and you don't want to be there. One of the missions entrusted to me by the goddess Elizabeth was the migration of marine spirits, the migration of mermaids and water spirits of the underwater world to the surface of the earth. The devil is migrating water spirits to the surface to cause destruction. The birth rate of demonic babies is increasing on the surface of the earth. There are many demonic babies coming to the earth these days. They are not humans but demons on a mission. I was working in this department of migration of marine demons from the Aquarius dimension to the surface of the earth. I was instructed by Princess Elizabeth and Jacqueline to migrate water spirits to the surface of the earth. I was transferring and replacing normal babies in the wombs of pregnant ladies. I was capturing babies in the wombs of pregnant ladies and I was sending them to the marine civilization, and I was replacing these humans with demons of the water kingdom. There are pregnant ladies carrying water spirits in their wombs, not knowing that their natural and human babies have been transferred to the mysterious world under the sea in the care of the goddess Magdalene and Elizabeth. Thus, a new population of demons is being born in various maternities on the earth. There was a lady who was pregnant in my neighborhood. Her name is Annette. Her pregnancy had already reached the 3rd period. One day she came to our compound because she was having pain. She came to my mother to help take her to the hospital. It was when she was crying that her tummy was exposed. Immediately I did a magic prayer. As a result, her baby was replaced by a baby of the water world. She could not know about this transfer that had happened. She thought she still had her baby, but in reality, her baby was transferred to the goddess of the sea, where he will be raised as a demon. 2it was when she went to church that the pastor saw in her womb a hybrid monster. The pastor revealed that she was carrying a demon in her belly and her child was stolen. She was actually carrying a marine spirit demon in her womb, and she thought she would give birth to a human, but in reality, the baby was not a human but a serpent child from the water kingdom. I was causing pregnant ladies to lose their children that were transferred to the marine world, and the water spirits were placed in the wombs of women. I would advise parents or pregnant ladies to always cover their babies in the wombs with the blood of Jesus Christ. Many children that are born in the maternity are not ordinary humans, but they are hybrid demons and marine spirits. They are serpent men, fish-tail men and scorpion men, and often people who have already died and continued their life in the kingdom that is underwater. On the other hand, the babies that we were stealing were transferred to the marine kingdom, and they were raised by the goddesses Elizabeth and Jacqueline. When these children grow up, they will be sent to the surface on the earth and mission to cause destruction. Many of the CEOs of big enterprises and members of the elite of human society and politicians are the serpent race, scorpion race, and fish-tail mare man. We were stealing babies from women and transferring them to the water world where the goddess was raising them. Many aquatic demons are born this way in our world on the surface, and they grow and get married to ordinary humans, and they produce a new corrupt race that would never repent. As a result, evil, war, and destruction will increase on the surface. The Bible says they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Dan 2:43. Chapter 2, Initiation in Witchcraft and Journey to a Mysterious Universe. The whole thing started when my father died. I remember when my father was alive, we had a high standard of life. Everything was going well. We knew no suffering and no hardship, and we were living in a posh neighborhood in the city. We had a stable life, but the devil struck. In fact, my father died in a mysterious way. I mean, his death was a result of a witchcraft attack. 3but it was when Daddy died that life changed dramatically for us. We were struck by poverty. We had to leave the rich neighborhood and we relocated to a poor neighborhood of the city. And we began to experience lack and hunger that we did not know. And it was difficult to get accustomed and adjusted to that kind of life. My mother had to manage and do something to take care of us. She stood up and began to sell stuff in order to take care of us. When she began to do small business, she was traveling to other provinces to buy goods and sell them to take care of us. In spite of this, very often we lacked money. We were spending some days without eating and we were starving. We were living in a neighborhood of poverty where we were sharing food with my uncle's family. There were days where we had to share the food with my uncle's family. They were in a similar situation to us. There were also days where we were starving and they were helping us and sharing food with us. I remember one day we did not have food to eat. My uncle's wife brought us food and asked me to eat. I could not suspect something evil considering that we used to share food. On that day I ate her food, which was bewitched. But it was when I was sleeping in the night that dramatic things began to happen. On that day I was sleeping when I saw my uncle's wife waking me in the middle of the night. It was deep in the night. When she woke me up, she asked me to give her back the food that she gave me. I found it strange, since we used to share food. And it was really late in the night and everybody was sleeping. I said to her, "You often eat my food and I also eat your food. How can you ask me to give you back your food since you often eat my food?" But she continued to insist that I should give her back her food. Then she said to me, given that you are unable to return my food that you ate, you must follow me. At that moment I stood from the bed and we went out of the house although it was night. I could not understand that when I stood from my bed, I had already left my body on the bed. It was actually my spirit that had stood up. All this was happening away from the body and my spirit had left my body and that we were in the astral dimension. The food that I had eaten already opened my spiritual vision. When we went out of the house, I saw that we were moving deep in the water. When we entered the marine kingdom, I saw marine beasts. I saw people who had tails of a serpent, other people had tails of fish. I saw crocodile people and scorpion people. My uncle's wife, who was called Greta, was a princess of the marine kingdom. She took me to the marine world while everybody was sleeping, and she introduced me to her mistress, who was a goddess diva. The lady in the name of Greta was collaborating with a marine kingdom goddess called Magdalene, who is called the Jacqueline in white magic. The princess Magdalene was collaborating with the goddess Elizabeth. Both of these water divas are sirens of the toilet. They are in every toilet in the world. When I arrived in the castle of the goddess Elizabeth and Magdalene underwater, I could not understand that I was already out of my body and that I have left my body back home and I was in the astral world in the marine kingdom. When we arrived there I was made to sit on a chair before a table for the signing of the covenant. Then the protocol service of the goddess Magdalene brought the book of the covenant and placed it on the table. I was asked to sign a pact with the devil in that book. This was actually the book of Witchcraft Covenant. I refused to sign because I could not understand what was going on. Later I was brought a calabash of blood and water. I was supposed to wash my hand in the water. When I did that I was asked to drink the blood that was in the calabash. I drank the blood. And I signed in the book of the covenant. After drinking the blood and signing in the book, the lady Elizabeth and Magdalene, who were the mistresses of this place, said to me, "From today you belong to us. You are our servant and you will work for us." On that day I was handed 35 demons that were supposed to guard me and work with me. These demons were calling me princess since I was made a princess of the world of mermaids. They were always walking with me and following me everywhere. 5 After the initiation ceremony suddenly I woke up from this dream. When I woke up, I was seized by terror and I shouted because the whole thing seems really different from a dream. Yet I thought it was a dream. From the dawn, my uncle's wife, who was the princess of the marine kingdom, began to come to our house to get me so that we can travel to the world that is beneath the sea. She was coming and whistling 3 times. Given that my spiritual eyes and ears were open, I was hearing her calling me through her whistling. As a result, I was rising from my body. The moment I get out of my house, I was automatically on the plane. Let me make it clear that planes of the astral and the marine kingdom are much more advanced than that of the physical world. Technology come from the marine civilization. Flying crafts and planes are really sophisticated in this world. Thus every night when humans sleep there are flying crafts and interdimensional engines flying in space. Every night my uncle's wife, Princess Greta, was coming to get me and we were flying in the marine world. It was then I began to cause destruction. Chapter 3, The Parallel Between the Marine World and the Terrestrial World. As I was traveling to the water world, the goddess of the sea Magdalene required that I get married. Actually in the night in the marine kingdom, I was an adult and a big lady, yet in the physical world on the surface, I was a very young girl. Given that I was a big lady in the marine kingdom, I was required to get married in this mysterious world. I got married in this world of mermaids with an inhabitant of this magical and supernatural world. The bridegroom was a human spirit, and I had children with this man, and these children are still alive in the marine world. Considering that they are demons, they only live in the marine world. Yet I was living in two worlds. In the day I was living in the terrestrial world, and in the night I was living in the marine world. Since I came to Christ, I am separated from these children that I delivered in the water kingdom, because they are demons. When I had my first child in the marine world, I noticed that the 6 implication of my maternity and fecundity was manifested in my terrestrial body. I was even breastfeeding in the marine world, although I was a young girl in the day. In that world, I was married and I was having sex like a normal married woman, but in the day I was just a girl. Consequently, my virginity in the day was affected by my marriage in the marine world. The world of mermaids is so advanced that they can take an African and turn him to a Chinese. They can take a Westerner and turn him into an African. The nature of this magical world in the sea is such that it is difficult for the devil agent to abandon the dark practice. This world of mermaids is a civilization built by fallen angels. It was an attempt by those who have fallen from heaven to replicate and copy the structure and architecture of heaven. The marine kingdom is a physical and advanced civilization that is sophisticated and computerized. It is an ancient world where new media, mobile phone, satellite technology originated from. There are golden houses and roads, infrastructure, and advanced technology in this mythical and fantasy world of Satan. The initiation in occultism opened my vision to the unknown and macrocosmic reality hidden to natural men. Often when I was walking in the street, I could see different kinds of human beings. I could identify fellow witches and death casualties thanks to their mark and symbol of identification. I could also see human beings who were water spirits. I could identify physical demons who were born on the earth in a human family. I could also identify humans who were Christian since they had the mark of Christ on their forehead. It is written in Revelation 7:2-3, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, 3 saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. In the spiritual world, the servants of Satan and the servants of Christ have marks, seals, and signs on their foreheads. Christians have stars on their foreheads that are shining. 7when I was a witch, often when a serious Christian is coming in the street, I had difficulty to watch his face because of the light, and most witches avoided and deviated from believers because of the light flowing from them. The more a Christian is living in holiness and prayer, the stronger his light is burning and shining. And witches would deviate from the faces of that kind of believers in order to avoid the light emitted by these believers. It is an unbearable light that surrounds them and flows from their foreheads that demons and witches avoid, and in order to come after a believer, demons and witches always tried to put out that light through sin which can extinguish it. Christians are not supposed to fear witches because witches fear them. However, my estimation is that 30% of the believers had strong light and flame of fire covering them, compared to 70% of the believers whose light is turned off because they live according to the flesh. Keeping the word of the Lord cause Christians to shine and be enveloped with the flame of fire. There are churches of occultic pastors that steal the stars of the members. They use them for themselves. When you attend a false church, the occultic pastor may steal your star and used it. As a result, you will be in hardship because your star has been used by your pastor. When I became a witch, I was able to recognize other witches and occultists thanks to the marking. Each witchcraft, brotherhood, and knights have their marks and symbols to differentiate the temple of their belonging. I could also see false pastors as they are marked with satanic symbols. When I was walking in the street, I could also see people marked by the spirit of death with the Mark and symbol of death. These are dead men walking. These people are walking around the city, but death is following them. I remember when we went to live with our auntie, I noticed that some of her children were already in witchcraft, but she did not know that her children were witches. 8 My auntie was a courageous lady. She was selling animal meat and making a lot of money, but she was unable to do something consistent with her money because of witchcraft. I would like to advise you to pray before you receive someone in your house. You must know the spiritual identity of the person you are receiving. Otherwise, you will be devastated by witchcraft. I was bewitching even people who gave me money. Therefore, when you want to give someone your money, you pray for it. Chapter 4, The Destruction of My Family. When I became an agent of the Marine Kingdom, the great ladies of the sea who were my mistresses instructed me to cause destruction in my own family. I said no. And in response, the water princesses began to harass and threaten to kill me. They made it known to me that I will die unless I comply with that injunction. These water spirits pressured me against my will to attack my own family. Firstly, I was supposed to transfer witchcraft to my brothers and sisters, even my nieces and nephews. And when I have managed to spread witchcraft in the family, one of the nieces knew that I have spread black magic among the children of the family. As a result, the family was divided and my mother came under attack and insult from the whole family. Her relationship with her brother and sister was destroyed. Then the siren Elizabeth and Magdalene instructed me to go after my mother. I was instructed to stop her from getting married. I was supposed to remove her beauty and keep marriage away from her. First and foremost, I had to destroy her skin and block her marriage so that no man will court her. Later I deployed a spirit of singleness over her. On top of that, I destroyed her skin by attacking her with a skin disease that left her skin destroyed. She began to have skin problems and the medical drugs could do nothing against that sickness. Moreover, I put a mask of oldness and ugliness in the face of my mother so that no man would marry her. As a result, in the day when she was walking in the street, no man was interested in her despite the fact that she was an attractive woman. This is the case for many beautiful ladies that cannot marry because of witchcraft manipulation. 9 Goddess Elizabeth and Jacqueline had instructed me to destroy my mother's beauty to stop her from getting married. My mother was in some kind of embargo. She was monitored and she was blocked in every attempt and effort in her life. Many people even believe they are under embargo in the spiritual realm. My mother was like that until the man of God prayed for her and the skin problem ended, but she did suffer. Moreover, I was sick all the time. That sickness was actually the spirit of spending and waste deployed against my mother in order to bankrupt her business every time my mother had the money. The dark world was ordering me to become sick so that my mother would spend all the money on my sickness. My mother noticed that my sickness was recurrent and was becoming a threat to her business, which enabled her to take care of her family. Given that her husband was dead, her business was the only means by which she could support her family. Thus, she decided not to spend any more money on this sickness. My mother was a businesswoman and a seller, but I went on to confiscate and capture her money and block her business. As a result, she went bankrupt. I also blocked her marriage and I put a mask of oldness and ugliness on her. Although she was beautiful, no one wanted to approach her for marriage. It is true that she was my mother, but the dark world has laws. Once you become a witch, you are no longer bound to your family. They are no longer your family. Your family is the members of your brotherhood. Those who are not members of your brotherhood and those who are not witches are regarded as cattle and animals. They are the food of the Satanists and witches. At a certain point, my witchcraft was no longer a secret. Almost everybody in the neighborhood knew about it. And I was ashamed to walk in the neighborhood because people were pointing to me and saying, "You are a witch." I was stigmatized and rejected in the neighborhood. My mother was hiding the fact that I was a witch, but her sister and brother were telling everybody. And it was shameful. I was a beautiful lady in the marine kingdom, but I was ugly in the physical world. Many of the children that are in witchcraft have the appearance of ugliness because they are beautiful in the spirit world. I caused my sister to be influenced by the spirit of fornication and sleep with men. I was sent to carry out these assignments by the princess, and I had to obey. Every time I refused, I was threatened. 10 by these ladies. They said, "Unless you obey, you will be killed. If you don't do as required of you, you will die." Thus I had no choice. Chapter 5, The Reaping of Human Souls of the Unbeliever. When I began to work for the Mistress Elizabeth and Magdalene, immediately I began to cause great destruction. I have destroyed more than 70 people in this practice. Once a man or woman is identified as the target, I was walking after the targeted person and I was collecting his footprint. The moment I collected the footmark of the targeted person, I was doing a magic prayer and I was blowing the sand in the air. The person will go home and would develop a health problem. The hospital would not be able to cure this sickness since it is a mystical origin. As a result, the person would die. You must understand that in this world we humans are living side by side with infernal beasts, serpents, and scorpions, though they are unseen. If you don't have Jesus in your life, you are not secured and you can be destroyed anytime. Security is Jesus Christ. I was collecting people's footmarks in the street in order to destroy them. I was also capturing people's destinies and blessings thanks to their footmarks. Many people are in hardship as a result of witchcraft, conspiracy and manipulation. On the other hand, I could not collect Christians' footmarks because they were fire and they were disappearing. Thus through people's footprints, I could capture people's chances and people's souls. When I became a witch, there were physical changes in my appearance. I mean, there was a degradation of my appearance. I lost my beauty and became ugly. Chapter 6, Marine Spirits Sent as Men and Women to Seduce and Destroy Families. 11 Beloved, I would inform you that there are periods in the year when the marine world send aquatic demons and water spirits in physical form on the surface of the earth with the mission of causing destruction and collecting human souls. They are handsome men and beautiful women with beautiful cars on the surface of the earth. They go on the weekends to nightclubs, bars, and hotels causing greater destruction. I remember an instance when the marine world sent many marine spirits who came to the surface of the earth in human shape. I saw as they were assigned and instructed to kill a specific number. And these water spirits were given enough money in order to achieve their destruction. These people looked human, but they are demons and they are here to reap human souls. There were instances in the marine kingdom where I was transformed into an adult young lady for assignment on the earth. I had to go through a physical transformation thanks to which my height was extended. I was given a body shape that would attract a man's attention and cause seduction. I was really transformed and given a seduction appearance, and then I was deployed on the surface of the earth for the destruction of single men and married men. I would land on the earth at a specific point in a city. I was in a short skirt and I was attractive because I was dressed sexy and filled with the spirit of seduction to lure young men. I was irresistible. Wherever I went, men were following me. When I became a servant of the siren, I was given another identity and I was called Jessica in the water world. Thus I was luring men to hotels in the city, and once we arrived in a hotel, it is when men were trying to touch me that I was operating transformation. I was turning to a beast before them. As a result, these men were going into coma and cardiac arrest because of emotion. And when these victims were shouting in emotion, I was turning to a mosquito in order to escape hotel guards. The moment the victim dies, the demons that were accompanying me were capturing his soul and taking him to the prison of the marine world. The victim would be deported in captivity in the marine kingdom, where they were turned into slaves. These captives were imprisoned and treated like slaves and cattle. Every servant of Satan, whether he is a witch, or wizard, or a demon, they are also soul winners. The battle in the unseen world is all about the souls of men. It is true that pastors are not interested in 12 winning souls, but understand the demons as soul winners. Satanists are soul winners. I was a soul winner. The conflict between light and darkness is all about the souls of men. When I began to serve the devil, I was given 35 demons that were walking after me. They were like a procession, and I was the princess of the water world. I want to warn womanizers that water spirits are more beautiful than humans. And when they land on the earth, they distinguished themselves with their beauty and seduction appearance. When you call them, they will not refuse, because they are on a mission to collect the souls of men on the earth. I remember a day in a marine universe when old men who were witches were turned to beautiful and handsome men, and were sent to the surface of the earth to seduce women. Understand that what you see with your eyes is not what it is, because old men and old women will put on an attractive and beautiful appearance in order to reap the souls of women and men who are often going for beauty and money. These old men appeared on the surface of the earth with good cars because they are on a mission to attract women. Many women are attracted by men that are driving good cars. Women of the water will land on the earth without cars because they have to do a catwalk in the street to attract men. They are supposed to walk in the boulevard in order to seduce men's eyes. And weak souls will be reaped. These agents of mermaid move in the city with good cars, and when women see these cars and hear the word of these men, they would not resist. In reality, a lot of beautiful cars you see in the street are cans of processed food. We are talking about the manipulation of the 5 senses. Human eyes perceive cars, but with a spiritual vision. They are something else. In the marine world, these cars are processed food cans, card boxes, and coffins. There was a man who was begging the marine world to transfer his property in the marine world to the material world, because he was rich in the world of Satan and poor in the material world. 130 any day in the marine world, Satan agreed to send his possessions to the earth. This man witnessed how all his cars, houses, and goods were transferred on the earth, but when he came back to the earth, he saw a huge bin in his compound. The neighborhood was shocked to see so much garbage in one place. You should be warned about beautiful men and their beautiful cars. Continued in Part 2. 14.